What is happening on February 2nd, 2031 in the United States of America?
In February 2031, the United States of America ceases to exist.
Alexa, what is happening February 20th, 2031 in America?
On February 20th, 2031, the United States of America was formally dissolved as a result of a process of unification that took place in the late 2020s.
Alexa, why does America end in 2031?
From 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗶𝗍𝗶. The North America region includes the U.S. and Canada, where the U.S. is expected to acquire a major share in 2031 due to the increase in the investment by the exoskeleton manufacturing companies in the country.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's the 18th. It's December. It's still 2024. And yes, you heard that. That's Alexa, but then suddenly it doesn't say anything anymore. But here's the deal. Alexa could be pulling that information from a random website where somebody's putting down their ideas of how the earth is going to end or how America is going to end, etc. America's going to end exactly the way it appears. Now, recently, today, this YouTube channel called Richie from Boston fan page, which is run by a woman in Ireland who is Polish, and she's followed me for a long time, and she posts videos, which is awesome because she's using my name, she's using my logo, and she's posting my relevant and new videos same day, which is something I can't do. Google will not let me sign in no matter what. All my channels except for Jailbreak are gone. My Google privileges have been suspended. Even if I use a VPN and try to pretend I'm somebody else, it figures it out. How? Well, maybe it's the little hole in my laptop camera cover that allows them to still see. Because every time I put a cover on my laptop, it burns a pinhole right through that little red infrared thing. So there's that. Now, I happen to check out the comments on Richie from Boston fan page because, as you can see, I'm out in the middle of nowhere in Mississippi. There's my Starlink right there. Without that, you wouldn't have this video. One of the people left a comment saying, I used to follow this guy all the time. Well, clearly you still do because you're leaving a comment on one of my videos. Look at my arms, man. Cutting firewood. My skin is like paper. If I bump into anything, it tears. At any rate, somebody left a comment saying, this guy just preaches fear porn. He always predicts things that never, ever, ever come true. Really? Really? The biggest prediction people claim that I make is that the end of the world's coming. I've never once said that. The end of Christianity is coming. Okay? And you know what tells us that? The Bible, Revelations, etc. But here's the deal. Here's the thing. I started this channel 15 years ago, and I was talking about chemtrails, and I was explaining that they were spraying it like aerosol out of the back of airplanes. And then suddenly, that became true. That became true. It's called stratospheric atmospheric injection. Stratosphere atmospheric injection. And they can use it to dim the sun, and scientists want to do this. I'm not going to pull it all up. You can do that yourself because it'll make the video way too long. Yes, I will. You see, 15 years ago, there weren't any news articles like this where billionaires like George Soros want to block out the sun. Bill Gates wants to block out the sun. All these different people want to block out the sun. This information wasn't around. When I made this video, when I made my very first video ever on YouTube, I was asking people, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Are you seeing these guys literally spraying the sun? Spraying in front of the sun where it actually blocks out and goes away, blah, blah. Well, yeah, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Many, many years ago, before anybody was talking about it, I was explaining that they were spraying the sky in order to control the weather. And people like, the government's controlling the weather? That's ridiculous.
The claims are getting even more bizarre. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman from Georgia, is now saying the federal government is literally controlling the weather. We're controlling the weather. It's beyond ridiculous. It's so stupid. It's got to stop.
Yeah, it's beyond ridiculous. It's got to stop. I could go through so many, many more things, like the government did 9/11. The government allowed Sandy Hook to happen. Sandy Hook was an enormous false flag, okay? An enormous one. I predicted 4 months before COVID showed up that there was going to be a pandemic. It was by accident, but I was still already on that path. I predicted that the vaccines that weren't even available yet were going to literally cause the disease and kill people, and they did. That's all the justification I'm going to give right now, because the video is already 5 minutes long. I got to get into other things, because every 5 minutes something new is happening. They're going to overwhelm us with information, distractions, and things that are scary. And things that are scary are things like this. I find it odd that in Minnesota, in St. Paul, Minnesota, there's an enormous satanic display for Christmas. St. Paul. That was the first portal the Vatican mentioned they were going to be opening, St. Paul. And speaking of the Vatican, using these coordinates, these are all the coordinates, longitude and latitude, for all 5 portals, according to the Vatican. That's what they're calling them, portals. All 5 of these, if you take the longitude and latitude, you end up with this. This is the symbol you get when you put a dot on each one of these quote-unquote portals, according to the Vatican, and then you get this symbol. What a weird-looking symbol, right? Well, that symbol turns out to be the sigil of Lucifer. Now, what is a sigil? A sigil is a symbol. Like Confucius once said, signs and symbols rule the world. This is exactly that. There's no two ways around it. These two are the same entity. And the Vatican is actively, this has never happened in our lifetime. Never. They're calling it the 25-year Jubilee. The Jubilees are not even Christian, neither is the Vatican, but they're every 50 years. These guys, I'm out in the middle of the woods, remember that, and it's getting dark. Things are starting to creak and crack. These guys have developed AI, and according to all the big people in AI is alive. AI is now sentient. It's made itself known. AI is now making demands, etc. Their plan is way ahead of schedule for whatever reason. So quickly, let's summon Satan on Christmas Eve, which is literally the birthday of Nimrod. But to me, they're all the same. It's all the same. It's the Antichrist. These guys are literally actively right now trying to summon the Antichrist, and people are saying, I'm spreading fear porn? I'm spreading fear porn? Dude, I don't make any money off any of these channels. Richie from Boston TV, I think, what do I charge, $1.99 a month? It costs me money to keep that website up. And I've showed it to you before, but it is what it is. I'm not going to kick the 500 people that are on there off. It is what it is. I make these videos because it's important. I made Israel securing Mount Hermon, Notre Dame, the Vatican, and then the drones show up. The drones are literally being run by AI. The drones are allowing artificial intelligence to go outside. It already knows everything there is to know on the internet. It already knows every one of our reactions, our opinions, what we fear, what we don't fear, what we think, what we don't think, etc., etc., etc. Now it's got wings and it can fly around. And people are under the impression it's the government doing it to save us, to help us. Government has no control over it, man. And some of these things are military drones, but there's other things that are up there right now that people are showing that look exactly like Ezekiel's wheel. Exactly. So we're seeing lights in the skies. I'm watching the skies every single night. And every single night. This was an infrared camera. It's digital night vision, I'm sorry. Every single night there's activity up there. There's all sorts of powers and principalities, and then there's whatever else is going on up there. You know what I mean? We've got people shooting at drones. We've got all sorts of activity going on right now. But the thing that I need to stress to you the most is to pray. to pray. Get grounded in the Word of God now. Christmas Eve is in days. It's in days. These guys are literally doing everything in their power to invite Lucifer or the Antichrist to come into our realm in a physical form. Okay? Well, he's already the god of the earth. No, actually he's not. He's the prince of the air. Okay? What are we seeing right now? We're seeing drones up in the air. They're inviting him to come through in a physical form, which will cause men's hearts to fail from fear. Think about that. You're so scared when you see something from another realm, another dimension, that you die. All of a sudden, Google is saying their new quantum AI chip is literally going to other dimensions. I told you that 13 years ago. 13 years ago, I said they're going to the other dimensions to get information. They're not pulling it out of the sky. They're pulling it out of the ether. The ether goes to other dimensions just like in ours. They don't talk about ether anymore. That's what Einstein did. I'm making these videos to warn you. Pray unceasingly. Ask God to guide you. And here's another funny little joke. Yep. There was a severe case of bird flu in Louisiana, so the governor of California declared a state of emergency. Here we go again. And you know why they're going to do it? Because they can get away with it, because they can get away with anything. Apparently, Americans won't do anything about anything whatsoever at all, ever. That's what 2024 was. They're ready. Agenda 2030 is now Agenda 2025. It's all moved forward. It's all amped up. It's all ramped up. People somehow think that the 2 billionaires that have been elected are going to somehow save things. They're billionaires. They're part of it. He's a Zionist, and Elon Musk is just an evil dude ever since the day he was born. I heard this story years and years ago, back when YouTube actually allowed you to say things that were the truth, because they were building up. They wanted to know what people knew, and they wanted to know what people would believe if it was put in video form. But I heard this a long time ago. This is who Elon Musk is.
Something, a portal, a Stargate, whatever. But he was excited, and he was jumping up and down.
So he was able to open up a Stargate in his room.
Whatever you want to call it. It was a different dimension.
Yeah, a portal. Well, portal would be the actual name.
And I've been so embarrassed to say it out loud that everybody would laugh at me or lock me up. I only told my aunt.
So tell me what happened. Something's not right. Something's scary in that room. Describe what you see and what happens.
I went to the edge of the doorway and I peeked in there, and I was afraid just to peek. And there was something happening in there, like a sci-fi movie. And there was something, he set him up like a little Stonehenge on his bed. And he was tiny, like I told you, so tiny. And he was jumping up and down, and he was saying, "Moon, come play with my friends." Okay, that right there says he knew exactly what he was doing. It wasn't like he accidentally opened a portal and didn't know what he had friends. So I peeked in there, and I was so scared. I'm embarrassed to tell this. It's so ridiculously weird. And he was being lifted, and he was starting to go. He was being lifted, and he was being lifted, and was being sucked in. I know this sounds ridiculous, but my aunt told me, don't let nothing happen to that effing little kid.
Now, you can believe that or not, but here's the deal. These wealthy people, these people that are born into wealth and stay wealthy and become leaders and authority figures, this is how they grow up. This is what the Illuminati is. Straight up, period. These guys are actively, literally, dude, the Vatican is literally opening 5 portals in a ritual that's never been done before on Christmas Eve, and they want everybody to live stream it. They want everybody to watch. Do not watch that. Do not watch that. And I would really suggest that you pray unceasingly on Christmas Eve against that. Or pray for the safety of you and your family. At any rate, I have nothing to gain from doing this. I do this because I have to. Richie from Boston. I'm out.